Alright guys, I'm back for another comic haul. So, yeah, let's get into it. Today I mostly have some back issues. I have like 3/4 books, some new books, and of course, like always, a couple cool books to show you guys at the end. So, to start off, for a quarter, I picked up the Goblin Legacy one-shot for a quarter. The only reason I picked this up, really, it's a Spider-Man book for a quarter, and I like Green Goblin, so why the heck not? It's book one, nothing too special. Next up, the New Avengers 33. Had to pick it up. It's a Bendis book, Avengers book, and it was a quarter, so no harm there. Also from that period, the New Avengers 21, which is Slott. And, yeah, pretty cool looking right there. So, awesome. Moving on, here's where we get to our dollar back issues, or couple dollar back issues. For $1.50, I picked up Batman 691. Of course, there were a bunch of Batman books. A lot of these Batman Reborn time period books I really like. I really like to read. I like the Dick Grayson arc in that time. Batman Reborn, to like the New 52 stuff is really cool, and I like the New 52 stuff too. But this is like the real first mainstream Batman books I read. I guess like these are the books when I started reading not back issues or graphic novels. This is really what I started out on in the way of Batman. So I appreciate these books on that level. So. I collect Amazing Spider-Man, so I picked up some books. I think all of these are $1. I'll tell you if otherwise. Amazing Spider-Man 382, of course, awesome Hulk cover. This is when we had the Intelligent Hulk, I believe. Very cool looking Hulk. I like how the letters are scrambled up top. Very cool. And as you know from my previous haul, I got a lot of Amazing Spider-Man reprints lately. I've been picking them up every haul. I've been picking up the new issues. So my Amazing Spider-Man collection is growing exponentially lately. 388. Double-sized issue, another dollar book. Pretty cool looking cover. I think those are his parents, so that's pretty cool. I'll put those away. Next off, 390. Another awesome cover. I like some of these 90s covers, how, especially like a little before this even, a lot of them had that real old school style. This one's pretty cool, kind of reminds me of the old school Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man style. And the thing I really love about a lot of Amazing Spider-Man covers are the urban environment, and you got a really flashy hero and the really flashy characters. Of course, this is actually a darker lit book, and but I like any real urban environment, so it's kind of cool to see those. And then that was 390, 391, continuing the arc. The Mercy of Shriek again. This one isn't urban, but the other thing I like, the really colorful, vibrant covers, so awesome. And then you can see a lot of how the covers kind of match 392. And this is actually a John Romita cover swipe, I believe. I don't remember what issue it is. But basically it's Spider-Man No More, but this time turned around on its head, Peter Parker No More. So for $1, I was really happy to pick up this cover swipe. And I plan on, once I read through my new comics, I'm probably going to read through these Amazing Spider-Mans in my little Spider-Man collection I've been gathering lately. And number 930 or 993, Savage Shadow, very awesome looking. And next off, 395. Another urban cover. I don't actually necessarily love this cover that much. I think the yellow is a little weird, but I mean, it's still an alright cover. Just a little too 90s for me. But it's $1 in Amazing Spider-Man, and basically if it's $1 or under for Amazing Spider-Man, I'm trying to pick it up because I want to amass a pretty good Amazing Spider-Man collection. Next, Amazing Spider-Man 396. This and Daredevil are the big collections I'm trying to get right now for Marvel. Of course, I've kind of been lacking on Daredevil lately after I picked up those few big recent hauls. But, of course, Amazing Spider-Man and Daredevil at the same time in Marvel. I would say, like, of the urban heroes, I really like, if I'm feeling like the more urban type books. I really like Spider-Man, Daredevil, and then I like Captain America, Iron Man, etc. for different types. But I've always been more of a fan of like the smaller supervillains and urban types. And I feel like now with like Captain America being so tied with the Avengers and Hawkeye so tied, or that was a weird example, but like you know what I'm saying. I like these heroes that do more things within the urban realm, and when they do grand scale things like Spider-Verse, it really means something. I think that's cool. Moving on. Amazing Spider-Man 519, kind of a jump up. This was $150, but New Avengers, pretty cool. I actually have a lot of the books from this time period, like the saga where Gwen Stacy had the kid with Norman Osborn. I have a lot of those books, which is funny because I got a collected volume of them. But those will be pretty cool to add to my collection. 519, pretty awesome looking cover. And then another thing I just want to point out briefly is I kind of like these, kind of like this Amazing Spider-Man font more. I think it looks more epic in scale, while the Amazing Spider-Man on the top of that kind of reminds me of like a coloring book. But moving on, for my final main cheap back issue, Star Wars number 17. Of course, a lot of hype with Star Wars right now, with Star Wars Episode 7, Star Wars the comic book, Star Wars in general, and I've been watching the Clone Wars a lot on Netflix. So when I saw this book, I thought this is an epic looking cover, and of course, it is an awesome looking cover. Some of these books are actually pretty pricey. The unfortunate part is you see the 50 cents in the corner. Unfortunately, that is on the actual book and not the thing. It's been on so long that I don't know if I actually want to peel it off, because I fear that it's going to rip the color off and stuff, and that just looks uglier than having a 50-cent logo. So that's unfortunate, but I got it for a pretty good price, $4. And there aren't a lot of Star Wars books in my area that I find for some reason, so I figured it wasn't a bad price, I guess. And it's actually The Untold Tale of Luke Skywalker's Past, so although it makes for an epic cover, I'm sure it's going to be terribly insulting to Star Wars fans. Yeah, so that's that. Looks like a cool cover, though. I haven't read any of those back issues yet, but moving on, I picked up Ivor Time Walker pull box. Well, I didn't pick this up. I got it for free. But Valiant been giving out a lot of these books once in a while. I usually skim through them, and I'm like, whatever. So, whatever. Daredevil number 12. Like I said, I'm into Daredevil lately. This cover is so cool looking. This is an example of like the cool urban covers, and you wouldn't see this that much in the 60s, but just this art style mixed with a lot of the stuff they do on these Daredevil covers. Lately, some of the Daredevil books, like in the last like 3 or 4 issues, with the Purple Man arc, I don't mind them, and I think they're okay, but I felt like some of their covers are a little more boring. This cover is one of the coolest covers, and I would say if I had to pick out a cover for the best one I picked out this week, this might be, of the new books, this is probably it. That's a really cool cover in my opinion. I really, especially in comic books with these urban heroes, I love those type of covers. Next off, and I didn't read that yet. Next off, because I actually have one Daredevil book I haven't read yet. I've been jumping around a lot more. Spider-Verse number 2, and this is the anthology series of Spider-Verse. Or within the Spider-Verse, so we're going to see things from Scarlet Spider, Superior Spider-Man, etc., like the 2 main guys on the book. But, so we see people throughout the universe if you haven't read it. I think we actually had like a Ho-Ho Spider-Man in the last book. It wasn't directly Ho-Ho because they don't have that sponsor anymore. But it was kind of funny, that one. And Newspaper Spider-Man. Pretty cool anthology series. And honestly, I wouldn't mind if this book continued past the Spider-Verse event. Obviously, a lot of this is Spider-Verse centric currently, but if they went afterwards and they had like Spider-Verse thing and they just made it like a $5 book and put like 2, basically the equivalent of 2 full-size comics in there and two main stories or something, I would be totally fine with that. I actually love this first one, Maximum Spider, like Marvel vs. Capcom. Very awesome. So I like that book a lot. And like I said, I think there's opportunity to keep going past where we are. I haven't read that one yet. I just skimmed through it, and that's how I knew about the Maximum Spider, but that made me laugh. Next off, Spider-Verse Part 4. Nothing particularly special in this book, just more Spider-Verse action. They think they might have found a new safe haven, this place that's radioactive to the other people, but the Spider-Men can go there if they like make like spiderweb hazmat suits or whatever. Spider-Verse is okay. It's a pretty good series, and I like the idea of Captain Universe Spider-Man dying. But I don't think it's necessarily worth it just to be like, oh, our safe haven's gone for an issue, and then they move on, and the next issue they have a new safe haven. I thought I kind of would have preferred if it was like no one's safe anywhere. Maybe they do more hopping around each issue to defend themselves. And also, I think we're drawing near a close on Spider-Verse. This is 12. If I read this thing right, it says it goes to Amazing Spider-Man 14, so 2 more issues. And I feel like our protagonists so far haven't really made a ton of leeway. Maybe it's because I'm missing a lot of the other stories, but Amazing Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse, well, the Spider-Verse book not really, but Amazing Spider-Man is really where this thing is centered because Peter Parker's our leader, so he should be where the book is really following him and his main team, and I'm glad there's side books, and I've been reading a lot of those, but Source also have been running out of those a lot because they don't order them in as large of quantities, so there's some parts I feel like I've missed, but I feel like for the most part, I've actually been missing a lot on these. Like, our protagonists in this main book don't really make any progress, or as much progress. Like, usually what happens is Spider-Man talks to the Spider-Men, then they get ambushed, and then they move. I think it's cool, grand event, but this issue didn't have a ton going on. But still a cool cover, so that's all I can ask for, I suppose. And finally, the book everyone has been buying, and this actually, I believe, sold out of Source. I couldn't find it when I was looking around. The reason I got it is because I actually put it on my pull box. I'm going to back out. I was zoomed in slightly. I put it in my pull box, and that's the reason I was lucky enough to get it. What do I think about this book? Well, anyways, yeah, like I said, I put this on my pull, so for the next few weeks, or at least the next couple months, I'm definitely going to pick it up, because I liked this book a lot. It had the title scroll like a real Star Wars thing, and I hope they do that at the start of every arc, and not every issue, I'm sorry, and then the credits are in the back for all the creators. Like, there's the one up there, but like the main creator credits were in back, and I'd like to do probably a formal review of this. I also like how they use the lightsaber fairly limitedly. Like, you can see the credits are in back there, and a long time ago in a galaxy far away, Star Wars, and then the title crawl. So I hope they only do that once an arc, or maybe only in this issue. Trying to put it down carefully, because that is cool, but it does take up like 6 pages. But yeah, once an arc I'd be fine with, at least the title crawl part. But I hope they don't do that every issue, personally. Other than that, no complaints. This cover is really awesome. The book was really awesome, and I'd like to give a more formal review. There are some parts that I was kind of iffy about, and that was mainly kind of like art direction and stuff, but I'll get into that more. I think the art's good, but I don't know. I'll talk about it probably in a formal review in a little bit. I also want to reread it. I've only read that once. Going on to my last 2 books. I'm going back to back issues. The reason I didn't do these before was I kind of just tossed them on the bottom of my stack. And they're valuable, or not valuable, but they're scarce. To start off, Superman issue 37, coverless. It is incomplete. It's missing the first page, but maybe it's the first page and the back page. But it is an old Superman book, and I got it for, I think it was $6 for this one, $6.50 or something like that, which isn't a bad deal. It'll be a cool reader either way, and it's just kind of cool. I really I know a lot of people care about condition a lot, and I do care about condition. Like if I had a choice between getting this book and a mint condition one for the same price, obviously, but I'm not willing to pay $1,000 for this book or $100 or whatever for a decent condition version when I could get this just as easily. I'm really not one of those guys that would be willing to dish out more money if I can just get as much enjoyment out of it coverless. Obviously, I would prefer a cover or whatever, but in the way of the book, the main reason I bought this wasn't really to get the mint condition collector. It was more to be able to read and enjoy this book as if I bought this back in the 40s. And that's what I really enjoy about coverless comics, and why it's nice to be able to get something like Superman 37 coverless for $6. But it is a cool reader, and it's nice to own because also I can preserve it pretty well. So preserving the history behind this book and the golden age, it's just a great time for comics and really cool addition to the collection. Additionally to that, though, I bought Superman 40, which is actually in better condition. If you look, the book is better put together than this one, which has like the rip on top and the nails rusty. But this one looks great in the bag too. And again, you gotta love the art on this. It was at that time where comic books weren't hyper realistic. You can see they're more like a mixture of the realism that we have today and the cartoons with like the big whoosh and dramatic eye thing and stuff. So the art is really awesome on this. And again, the really nice part about this and classic television that I really appreciate is this is kind of like this is literally written exactly how people viewed things back in the 40s. This is really a great way. It's kind of a time capsule back to a different time, and that's what's really cool about these old comics, in my opinion. And especially Superman are my favorite golden ages to buy. Although currently, I don't actually think I'm subscribed to any Superman books. I'm not. And I love Superman, but the reason I really like Superman back in the day I prefer to collect these over even most other characters. Batman I also like to collect a lot, but I would say Superman's even my favorite character to collect for the sheer reason that he was really the face of comics. He's the one that brought it into the day it is today, and these books are so classic. Just they're really simple, not really. I don't know. It's just I don't know what I'm trying to say, but they're cool stories. They're cool, very old school, and they're hard to find stories that resemble that today. So for those reasons, I don't know if you understood that, but Superman 37 and 40 are probably my highlights for today. In the way of new comics, it was cool getting that the new Star Wars. Great. I would definitely subscribe to it. Jason Aaron's a really good writer. I really like it. Minimalistic use of lightsabers. Awesome story. Awesome title crawl. You open it up and you're like, damn. So that's really exciting. And especially, I heard some good stuff about Rebels. Haven't watched that yet. But I hope this is furthering proof that Disney is taking more care with Star Wars. I don't know how involved they are with the project. I'm hoping they are pretty involved with the project. If they're not, I would understand. Disney's a busy corporation. But comic book stores are a good place where obviously a lot of Star Wars fans are. A lot of fans of sci-fi are also fans of comics, board games, etc. that you'll find at comic stores. So defending this market, if you can tap into this market and see what they like through this book, this is a good market tester for episode 7. And keeping fans happy. Doing more fan service so that you can make the fun film that everyone likes, not just the average theater goer, not just the fan. And that's why I think this book would achieve that. Where if it was a cartoon or something, kids would enjoy that, but Star Wars fans would also enjoy it. That's my opinion. But I'll probably go into that in my more formal review I want to do. So that was rambling. That was like 30 comics and rambling, but some cool books, I figure. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And like, comment, whatever you want to do. And thank you for watching, guys.